Welcome everybody to the VLOGAN, a vlog for individuals with special needs and those who love them. Today I have the great pleasure of talking with Shawn Hoff from Butler Tech. He is the Project Life Replication Coordinator, and today he's going to tell us all about what Project Life is and how and why you might want to bring it to your community or school. So welcome, Shawn. Thanks for being here today.
Yeah, thank you, Logan, very much for asking me to be a part of this. If you've watched the video, you know a little bit about Project Life, that it's really a transition program designed for individuals with disabilities, which is I know is very near and dear to you.
Yeah.
As they get ready to exit school, they reach that 18-year-old range, and then it's like, okay, what do we do? Are they going to exit school, or are they going to stay up until their 22nd birthday? And so Project Life was developed organically here at Butler Tech by the internal team because, are you familiar? Have you heard of Project Search at all?
Yeah, that's actually was going to be one of my questions.
Okay.
Is I know that this kind of feeds into Project Search, and so
Yep.
I
Yep.
just kind of wondering about that kind of stuff too.
Yeah.
So yeah, please.
So we had Project Search here at Butler Tech. We were one of the original, I guess, replications of Project Search, if you will, back in 2006. So what we saw happen was students going into search, just like, oh, we're really missing some key entry-level skills. And so what happened was, but the team here at Butler Tech said, you know what, we got to do something about this. So Butler Tech staff, being who they are, went to work and developed this program to fill in those gaps of those skills that kids were just missing to be able to really be successful in search. So they launched Project Life. And then, so fast forward a little bit, that what they started to see was more success for students when they went into search.
Okay.
And so then actually Susie Rutkowski and Aaron, from the originators of Project Search from Cincinnati Children's, had approached Butler Tech and said, hey, why don't you look to replicate this program? And initially they were like, yeah, no, we're not really interested in that. Because as public schools, that's not what we do. We don't educate kids and do a really good job to try to go out and sell a product. The point is to just educate your kids. And so then they start thinking like, well, maybe there is something to this. If we're seeing better results in search by implementing this program, then maybe they're onto something. We can help all across the country. And so they went down a path in 2017 to kind of trademark the name, and then begin a replication process. But at the time, I was like, we don't know what to do because that's not the business we're in. So they started to work on curriculum and some of those marketing things. And in 2018, replicated the very first Project Life program in Kansas.
Wow.
And so since 2018, fast forward to today, we now have 50 replications across the country and into Canada.
And you're the director of that.
So I am the new replication coordinator.
Okay.
That's what my title is, if you will. So my job is to, really help as districts are interested in replicating Project Life and bringing it to their district. My job is to work with them, get everything lined up, go through license agreement, outline the way everything will happen. And then either myself or my colleague, there's a mighty team of two of us. Michelle Bumgardner is my colleague, and one of the two of us will go out and train that district.
Okay.
So we do on-site training for them.
So this is a school-based program. So a school implements it.
Yep.
Similar to the way they would do Project Search,
Yep.
but they would have Project Life.
Yep.
And it's funded by the school. How does that look? And it's part of an IEP then?
Yeah, it is funded by the school. Or I'm actually a recovering superintendent,
Okay.
a joke in the industry. So in my previous role as superintendent at Preble County Educational Service Center, I replicated Project Life last year. So I had been wanting to do something for a while. I tried to do search. I didn't have an employer big enough, because search, you're really housed in that business. You're an integral part of your classroom is there. All of your job rotations for your interns are there. And I just didn't have that availability in Preble County. We're so small and rural. So then I went down a path of looking at Project Life, and that was a good fit for us because we could have the classroom wherever we wanted. We could have job sites and more small businesses in your community. So
Mhm.
that really worked for us. And when I found when we replicated the process and got our program up and running, I knew it was going to do great things for kids. I had no idea how much they would grow in their self-confidence, which is one of the biggest things.
Mhm.
The self-confidence, their employability skills, and their ability to communicate, which was something that, a lot of times that's kind of pushed down and they don't really get to experience and really get pushed. And nope, you can meet this level of expectation that we're going to set for you. And
Yeah.
so I had interns that grew far beyond what I thought they even could. And so, being who I am, an individual that my calling is to work with individuals with special needs, I said, I have to do something bigger than just Preble County. And so, Marina Fish, who was my predecessor, had retired. I looked to apply, and here I am, sitting at Butler Tech now, and helping districts all across the country do this.
So let me make sure that I understand this. It's you were once a Butler Tech customer as a person implementing Project Life in a district,
Yes,
and then you saw how wonderful it was, and you decided, hey, I'm going to go help spread this to other communities.
absolutely. Yep, you got it.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah,
So, would you mind just telling me a little bit about ESC? I'm guessing that many people who are viewing this don't know what an ESC is and
absolutely.
how that is related to a school district.
Yeah. So in the state of Ohio, there are 51 ESCs that stands for Educational Service Center. So there are 51 again across the state. Some are county specific, like mine. I was Preble County ESC, so we just serve districts in Preble County. There are some that are more regional. The ESC of Central Ohio is a very, very large ESC. There's Madison Champaign County ESC. There's Midwest Regional. There's Montgomery County ESC. There's Butler County ESC. But there are 51 across the state. And what ESCs do is they provide specialized services to the school districts in their county or region. Special ed being a big piece of that. A lot of times, related services, when you think about speech therapy, physical therapy, occupational therapy, all those sort of services. Preschool is a big service that ESCs provide to districts as well. It's really what do the districts in your area, your county, your region need? And those are the types of things that ESCs provide more on a consortium model because as a small district, you don't have a big enough population to do something on your own, or you don't have the resources to be able to hire somebody independently in your district. So they go to an ESC where you can pool those resources and provide the services as a consortium.
Awesome. So I want to make sure that I understand this. So Project Life was happening through Butler Tech.
Yep.
You, as the superintendent of Preble County ESC, said, I want to bring this to Preble County. And
Yes.
you, now the ESC kind of coordinates it for the districts in Preble County.
Correct. Yep. Yeah. It was a new program that we had created. And so I took the advice of the replication team here with Rena and Michelle, and I took just over a full year to plan, to prep and get ready, educate my community, educate my school districts, educate families about what we were to embark on. And then so last school year, what would be the 23-24 school year, we officially launched Project Life for school districts across Preble County. And we had 8 interns. We call them interns.
Uh-huh.
We're trying to raise the bar. We're not
Sure.
looking at, this is just not another high school program. We're stepping it up. We're expecting more. We're giving them authentic work-based learning experiences in their community, along with a curriculum that's going to assist them in becoming as independent of adult as they can possibly be.
Mm-hmm.
And so we served 8 students across Preble County, and saw growth again. Like I said, I mean, it just astounded me the way they blossom when you set the expectations high and treat them as a young adult and give them the opportunities.
Yeah, awesome. So with Project Life, I read on your website that oftentimes students transition to Project Search. But going back a little bit, so when a child turns 16, we start to talk about transition, like you said, in schools, and there's an IEP and those kinds of things. So, does the child graduate and then become an intern, or is this part of continuing school up until the 22nd birthday? How does that look?
So it can look a couple different ways.
Okay.
Depends on how a school district wants to do it. So the ideal, I guess, if you will, is, once a student reaches that senior year and they meet all their graduation requirements, they can defer their diploma, right? And continue their education into what we call that transition band, that 18 to 22-year-old. Our curriculum is fully designed and the program is designed to be its own full program. You think about a student that's a junior or a senior, they're still trying to earn credits towards graduation, their language arts credit, their math credit, their, whatever it may be, which is fine. This program is done in districts across the country with juniors and seniors. Here at Butler Tech, and then where I had replicated, we have it here as a transition program. So students have already met graduation requirements.
Okay.
So that IEP team gets together and decides, there is an application process for students in high school to apply to Projects Life. And then they either, get accepted or not. But then the IEP team gets together and, of course, you have to look at that LRE and what are the individual's goals? What are they working on? Because, when we get to Project Life, we're really focused on those adult skills and those employment skills. So yeah, the IEP team becomes a huge part of that because that's the team that's really going to determine where they're heading. It's just a phenomenal process to watch, honestly. I got to be a part of the interview process this year. So here at Butler Tech, we've got, we serve almost 18,000 students here. And so all the different districts across Butler County, we see all these kids from high schools applying, and then we come in, I think we interviewed roughly 100 candidates to get into Project Life. And unfortunately, because of space, we can only accept so many. So we ended up having to turn down approximately 30 students this year for next year because it's become a program that is so in demand that districts want their kids to come, the families want the students to come, the students want to come because they're seeing the opportunities for growth and to help them get those entry-level employment skills. And then, if they do move on to search, that just solidifies those skills so much more. And then they're able to become competitively employed in their community.
Awesome. So, because I'm not a special needs education attorney, you mentioned something about IEP team. So, does the IEP follow the student to Butler
Yes.
Tech, even if they've graduated from high school?
Yes, the IEP follows them. Once you walk across the stage in the state of Ohio and you accept that diploma, that piece of paper,
Yes.
once you keep that diploma, that eliminates you from receiving school-based services. You're no longer eligible. So in the state of Ohio, well, the best way to describe it is to say they can still participate in a graduation ceremony, but they don't receive their diploma.
Got
It's
it.
basically saying, hey, thank you. Recognize that I've completed all my graduation requirements. I want to participate in the ceremony with my cohort, the students that I've been with. But thanks, but no thanks. Keep my diploma. I'm going to continue services.
Mm-hmm.
And so then that IEP team, gets together if they get into life and or search, kind of redesign that IEP a little bit, looking at the LRE and, what goals are they going to still be working on or what new goals need to be added when it comes to thinking about entry-level employee skills.
And just to make sure, because I'm not an education attorney, LRE means least restrictive environment.
That is absolutely correct.
Okay,
Yep.
great. Do some students still go directly to Project Search?
Yes.
Then do some students come out of Project Life? And do you support them to get full-time jobs at that point? And then if they need Project Search, they can go into Project Search, or how does that look?
Yeah. So students can go directly into Project Search, and we have that sometimes. Individuals from, let's say, Lakota, a Lakota school district, they apply here for our Project Life and or search program. So it's one application. And then they come and sit down and interview with both our life and search instructors
So Butler Tech is the project search coordinator too for many school districts.
in Butler County.
Great. Thank you.
Yes, the process that we go through in our interviews, there's a portion of kind of a skill-based assessment, and then there's a portion with a sit-down interview with staff. And then we evaluate all of that utilizing rubrics. And then so we look at how they performed in the kind of job skill, if you will, the skill-based assessment. We
Uh-huh.
score that. Then we score the sit-down interview process. And then so we just start, we dump those scores in and we put them into a spreadsheet. And then we start looking at those individuals. Those that are performing very high level on the skills assessment and are performing very high level in the sit-down interviews, those individuals are showing more aptitude and readiness for search. So they might go directly from high school into project search. Then some of those students that are, still performing well on those skill-based assessments and still performing well in the interview, but we can see that there's some work that can be done. Those individuals can come into Project Life, ultimately fulfilling 1 year, maybe 2 years of Project Life. Then they can move on to search. They don't have to, but that's the way it was designed. If we can build some of those base skills in life, get them ready for search so they can be more successful in search. We've had students that leave Project Life that go directly out into community-based employment. It is not a requirement to go to search, but that was the way it was originally intended, was life, search, employment.
Got it. Awesome. From a grassroots, let's suppose that somebody's watching this for the first time
Mhm.
and they're a parent and they've never heard of Project Life. They were like me, hadn't heard of Project Life until learning about
Okay.
you. How do they get Project Life into their community if they're a parent? And then how does somebody who might be an educator get Project Life into their community?
Okay. So that process, it's pulled in by a school district, typically speaking. There are a few communities that it's run through the adult DD agency, and it services the adults. They've already exited school. School-based services are completely finished. So thinking about like Huron County Board of Developmental Disability, they run it through their adult service program. Schools aren't involved. That is an option. But for those that are school age, if parents, it's something that they want to see for their child, obviously look in that area and see if there is a Project Life program. If there's not, it'd be something that they would want to bring up to their school district.
Okay.
Hey, I think about the Columbus area. We have a program at Southwestern City Schools.
Okay, great. Awesome.
But I'm going to use, I don't know, Pickerington, for instance. You have students or parents in the Pickerington School District that are like, well, this will be a great opportunity for our students, but Pickerington doesn't have it. If they, talk to the school districts, because it is run through a school district, those school districts can then reach out to us, and we can talk with them about that process. What does replication look like? How do we come out to support that? Because we do come on site and we spend 3 solid days with staff to look to train them on the curriculum, train them on authentic work-based learning experiences, go through all of our data collection tools with them so that they can get a really good grasp on how to effectively implement the program.
That's your
Uh,
team of two who does that.
that's our team of 2 that do
Got it.
that. Yep.
Got it.
And so on our website, I don't know how much you looked around on our website, but
I
on our
did a lot.
website, there's a replication tab, and schools can look at that and submit like a contact us. And then, which we get those all the time. And so those pop in, and then we'll do a little bit of research based on the information they provided to us. And then we'll reach out and give them information about the program and set up a Zoom meeting if they want to talk a little bit more. And we can show them some more things via Zoom than what we can just through an email.
Actually, I did get on your website and I want to make sure that I can show people directly how to learn more about Project Life.
Yep.
And so I'm going to share my screen
Okay.
and
So that is our landing page. And so as you scroll down through that page, you can see, obviously up there at the top, there's that video. I'm assuming that's the
yeah,
video at the bottom that
yeah.
you watched.
I found yes, I found that by following through the replication. So
Okay. Yep.
yeah,
Yep. So
awesome.
yeah, that About tab gives some information about Project Life and how was Project Life born? here at Butler Tech. It kind of gives you that story that I kind of talked to you a little bit about, how Replication all started.
Awesome. Great. I'll share this website. I got here on my own organically by going through that Butler Tech replication on the Butler Tech website.
Yeah, okay. And then if you look at the top, let's see, it is right there under replication.
Mm-hmm.
If you
Oh,
go over
under
to the,
replication, excuse
yeah,
me.
nope, that's okay. If you look at the curriculum, there is so this particular page allows people to see what is it that we're looking at as we're teaching this program. So, well, I'll talk to you just briefly about this because
Love it.
this is really important.
Thank you.
So, when you think about who we are as individuals, we have our home life, we have our work life, and then we have a quote unquote our social life or life in our community. So when you think about a lot of times individuals with disabilities, they have their school life, they have their home life. Outside of that, once they get to be high school students and become young adults, it becomes, I don't have school anymore. I have home, but then if they're not going out in their community and getting involved and doing anything, that's kind of it.
Mm-hmm.
And so we teach the three learning domains that we have are life at work, life at home, and life in the community. So those are all very key focus things that we're training and teaching our students in. So then when you look at those unit topics, so with those unit topics, so for instance, unit 1, safety skills. We're teaching safety skills at home, safety skills at work,
Mm-hmm.
safety skills in the community, self-determination at home, self-determination at work, self-determination in the community. So, you know, building those independent skills to allow these individuals the opportunities, giving them the knowledge on how to access things in their community that they are interested in.
Wonderful, wonderful. This is just great. I had not seen this part yet, the program locations. And look at you guys out in Hawaii. I hope that you got to go to Hawaii to put
I
this.
have not yet, but I will be going this summer. We have a team in Honolulu, and then we have a team all on the same island of Oahu. We have a team in Honolulu. We have 2 teams in Oahu, the central Oahu district. And then I will be going out this summer and training a new team in the Windward district on Oahu Island. And then we have
Wow.
some up in Alaska. And
Lucky you. Awesome. Oh, there's a lot. Yeah, I didn't see
yeah,
Alaska's not
so
on the map.
there's a breakdown of states below. So if you click on
Yeah.
Alaska, it shows you where are the programs in Alaska, what
How
district.
cool. How cool. Well, hey, Shawn, thank you so much for joining me today to talk about Project Life. I'm excited to bring this vlog to the community, and hopefully it brings some things to you. But if nothing else, it's going to give people choices for young adults as they enter that last phase of high school and transition to adulthood. So thanks for being here. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely, my pleasure.
I hope you enjoyed this episode of VLOGAN. Please like, share, and subscribe so you can stay up to date with some of the latest news in the disability community.